And we're back. This is Alden Antonucci with another exciting and fun episode of Extreme Power Hour. I got a great friend of mine here, Josh Treasure. And I was just mentioning before that the name Treasure, just started making me think of the monetary system and system in a whole. And so I know the last episode we kind of talked about some theories and kind of the origin of Federal Reserve and kind of some conspiracy stuff in there. Do you kind of maybe refresh the memories of the audience? Do you remember anything?
Yeah, so it was the Titanic, Jekyll Island, them meeting, and then the Titanic occurred in November, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
actually, it was in April.
Okay, so
Jekyll Island was in November.
So yes, the members died that were against the Federal Reserve System, and then November they go to Jekyll Island, and then basically a year later the Federal Reserve System is created.
Do you remember what day it was created on?
What was it? December 23rd, when everybody's out of Congress.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just coincidence, but
yeah.
So now we're in that new system.
Yeah.
Right? We're in this, what's called the dollar system, the Western dollar system.
Yeah.
Which honestly, right up until the 50s was gold backed.
Yep.
Which meant what? It's 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had $1, you walk to the bank, they'll give you, a dollar's worth of gold.
Yeah, and didn't Nixon change that?
Yeah, it was during that time period.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And so basically he said, the money exchangers, he was kind of alluding that it wasn't the Fed's fault.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, the populations were growing, and I think the monetary system has to grow just as fast, if not faster, than the population, or you're going to get a deflationary market. And so that's where the word inflation and everything comes in, because it has to keep up with the growing population.
Yeah.
So we've got the new monetary system roughly in the 1950s. It goes from a gold back into a quantum system, which we're kind of in now. And then it was kind of getting a rocky road right up until, late 70s, where they turned it into the Petrodollar. So now oil backs the dollar. So it's an oil-backed dollar. And that system has been going on now for about, let's call it around 50 years.
Yeah. And that's where every transaction for oil is done in U.S. dollars.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm somewhat aware of how that works.
Right. And so that's super important to really know, because if the world doesn't transact in oil through the dollar, the value of the dollar goes where? Straight back down, because it's oil backed.
Yeah.
The people that buy and sell in the dollar, the faster it moves, the faster it goes up.
Was that essentially a way for them to force the U.S. dollar's global currency?
Basically to have a stronghold on the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that the world is dependent upon is oil. If you take away oil, everything else collapses. If you control the oil, you control the supply of money. Now, we're not going to get into politics of war and why certain wars may or may not happen in certain areas. There's wars going on today, maybe or may not, for the same concepts, whether it's nefarious or not. That's the world we live in today. That's the system, and that's the whole reason of really why we're talking about this, is knowing the system of what we live in. Because if you're going to live in a system and be part of a game, if you're going to play soccer, if you don't know which goal to go for, what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got to be on a team, call those teams churches, call those teams countries. You got to put a jersey on.
Yeah.
You got to have a legion. That's where religion comes from. It's you got to be going in the same direction with another community, whether that's good or bad or indifferent. So now, do you have any other questions really about the old monetary system that we're currently in and that's fading out now? No.
Yeah. I mean, it's just fascinating.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about, well, if that's the old system, where are we going now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's like the biggest question is we have this $34 trillion debt burden and no realistic way to get out of it. within the current system we're in. And it's like it's all happening so fast.
So fast.
Yeah.
Almost as if, almost unhumanly fast.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any humans that can run 60 miles an hour?
No.
No. But when you see a human running 60 miles an hour, what's going on in your brain? That guy ain't human.
Yeah.
I think the fastest human in the world runs somewhere around 20 miles an hour, which is almost lightning speed. If you're trying to keep up with him, he's gone.
Yeah.
Imagine a 60 mile an hour human. You would think what?
They're not human.
They're not human.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings me into the next term of what human really means.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we want to go back into that chattel concept or whatever else, but the new monetary system is going to move at 60 miles an hour, which means what? It's probably not the same system that we're in today, which means it's probably controlled by AI, quantum computing, D-wave quantum computing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything now moves at the speed of now, now. You don't have to wait for a check to then drive to the bank, put the check in the bank. The bank has 3-day hold on the check. Then after about a week of finally diddly farting around and waiting for your money, you can now take your money out to then pay your landlord. And then your landlord takes the check, and that money's slow.
Yeah.
It's slow. Yeah. So the monetary system is literally supported on how fast does money happen. Mm-hmm. The faster money can go from your pocket to my pocket to the next guy, bing, 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 it raises the boat, if that makes sense. So this QFS system that we're currently in today in this dollar world is a quantified financial system, QFS, but it's slow. It's like horse and buggy, like 200 years ago.
Yeah.
So they were like, listen, we need a better system. We got 8 billion people out of here and growing. Mm-hmm. So now you got the populations are growing. There's this deficit of money and the have and have nots. So you got people that are literally dying every year of starvation because they have nothing.
Yeah.
I think it's roughly 90% of the world makes less than $1 a day. Does that even make sense? The average Starbucks cappuccino or coffee is probably between $3 and $7.
Okay.
90% of the population doesn't even make $1. I don't even think there's anything at Starbucks you could even buy for $1. Maybe a napkin or the paper cup.
Yeah.
So the system is being transformed, and it's called Agenda 2030. Some people know it as Agenda 2032.
Okay.
It's in relation to the same thing, where they have these goals. And those goals are basically, we got growing populations. Certain populations will just have, they need to stop growing. Mm-hmm. If we're thinking about, there's so many people that can live on the earth. Now, I'm not saying I'm for or against. I'm just saying this is the new system that we're in. Yeah. The system that we said goodbye to, which includes the dollar, is called Agenda 2021. And this new 2032 agenda that we're flowing into, how many are they pushing oil now, or what are they pushing right now?
No, batteries.
So let's just talk about the evidence. So now they're pushing electric powered cars. Mm-hmm. So this digital movement, including a car. Mm-hmm. And the dollar before was oil backed, therefore oil driven cars. Mm-hmm. If oil goes away, what's supporting the dollar? Mm-hmm. And what are cars going to? Electricity, which is digital. Mm-hmm. So if we make that correlation, electric cars, everything's going electric.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the phrase, the Internet of Everything?
No. So, I guess I have. Yeah.
Your refrigerator can say, hey, we're out of milk. You look on your watch and it says, bing, I gotta go get some more milk. They're trying to make transactions faster.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm not saying that there's a camera inside your refrigerator
for
nefarious terms. It's more of just saying you as a person,
Mm-hmm.
as a human being, need to be more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Because the faster we can move money,
Mm-hmm.
the faster and the more money is going to be worth for growing populations.
Yeah.
It's considered that's the new oil.
Okay.
It's a commerce-backed digital currency system.
Okay.
We talked about the Federal Reserve and the printed dollar bills,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we call them Benjamins, right?
Yeah.
$100 bills.
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the new Benjamin Franklin now is a commerce-backed system, digitalized. It's called CBDC, Central Backed Digital Currency System.
Okay.
CBDCs.
Okay.
So, this central backed currency digitalized system is going to be supported by us. Does that make sense now?
Kind of.
We are the new oil.
Okay.
The faster that you and I
Can make money,
can make transactions happen.
make and spend, and
Think of it like a wind farm and a wind generator.
okay.
The faster that wind farm and that wind generator is spinning, the more what you get?
Money.
More money. So the faster you and I make transactions, we give flight to that airplane.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That airplane's going faster.
Mm-hmm.
So they want us to buy and sell faster. Not saying that's a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you're driving home from work, you look at your watch because it goes bing and it says pick up some milk
mm-hmm.
and whatever else that's not in your refrigerator.
Yeah.
You go right to the nearest grocery store.
Yeah.
And what's happening now with the new grocery stores?
I mean, Amazon wants to have no checkout lanes or anything.
Cashless society.
Yeah.
So now we walk into a grocery store in our current model. What do we got to do? We got to take out a wallet.
You know, it's funny you bring up this point because I did a cash only 2 months to see if I spent less. Because I was so used to ordering lunch and things because it was so easy.
Throw it on my card.
Yeah, and there's actually some places that don't even take cash.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that system, as it pulls the cash out, because not saying it's good or bad.
Yeah.
What they want to do is cash is slow.
Yeah.
Cash is the turtle.
Get rid of it.
Cash is a turtle.
Yeah.
What's the rabbit?
Cards, electronics.
Electronics. Yeah. Remember, you got a watch on.
Ding, ding, ding,
you got a watch on there right now, a digital watch.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so you can probably through Apple Pay or whatever watch that is, Google Pay.
Yeah.
You can just go beep beep.
Yeah.
So you see how everything has been turned into efficiencies.
Yes.
Which is kind of a good thing. In reality, in some ways, you can take that as well. It's more efficient.
Yeah.
I could be home theoretically faster because when I go to the grocery store, what's going to happen is it just says, oh, the milk. Oh, you walked into Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Milk's in aisle 3. You don't even have to look up from your watch and you're just walking and you just see aisle 3. Bam.
Yeah.
You grab your milk and you walk right through. You didn't even check out your milk now, right?
Yeah.
Because it's sensed on your arm or on your wrist or whatever else like that, right?
Yeah.
And then you go back in your car. In reality, you could probably get some work done in your car because your car is electric and it's self-driving. Yeah. And you probably have some paperwork and emails you might have to respond through Chat GPT. Does that make sense now?
Yes.
Chat GPT. So everything is being sped up.
Yeah.
Just like that wind farm.
So for us, being millennials, are you a millennial? Or are you just right over?
I'm Gen X.
Okay.
Right at that cusp.
Yeah, but like seeing those two sides of life,
right.
I think that we understand we're plugged in all the time, but we can turn it off. But future generations coming up,
like my kids,
are they going to know, and thankfully we're in Montana. I'm sure your kids, and you've taught them to play and understand that.
Get their hands in the dirt.
Yeah, but, cities and kids that are being raised in front of screens, are they going to know the difference between being turned off and on? And
bingo. So now you get what's VR, virtual reality.
Yeah.
And if you play video games, which I don't, I'm still that generation where I was like, I wasn't really big video game. But I know the newer generations were definitely introducing. Can you really tell the difference now between a video game and reality, watching it on TV or a virtual headset?
It's pretty tough.
And that's why it's called virtual reality.
Yeah.
Because you almost don't know the difference. And I've used Google Glasses, the VR headsets.
Yeah.
Where I was going through a roller coaster, and I probably barely sit in this chair as I was going through the roller coaster.
Yeah.
That's how real
they're
making technology now.
Yeah.
And so if we get back into where you were at the grocery store, you bought your milk so efficiently. Your Tesla car now drives itself, probably has more sensors than just two little eyes looking forward. It's got sensors front, back, sideways.
Yeah.
I bet you that Tesla could be doing that trip that you normally take, let's say, 20 minutes to get home. I bet it can do it in 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Especially because it knows how to go through lights better than you do, because it's got sensors. And your Tesla, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not biased.
Yeah.
But that Tesla, let's say, is now incorporated into that light. Have you ever gone to a light at 2 a.m. and you were the only one sitting at that red light for 5 minutes? Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone has, especially the ones watching here.
I sit there and flash my lights.
They're sitting there like, come on now, like you're killing me.
Yeah.
So imagine that Tesla now that's driving much faster than you're allowed to drive because you're just a human with 2 eyes. Well, this has got 1,000 eyes. And this one is, your car now is tied into, let's say, the street light. That street light is telling your Tesla, there's nobody here.
I'll turn for you.
I'll turn for you. Do you see how efficient that is? You didn't have to hit the brakes. You didn't have to do nothing. You're home now in 4 minutes. You went to the grocery store, which maybe took you 2 minutes because you just walked out. But what's even cooler, on your new technology, they're called wearables. Your wearable, if it's tied into the correct app, tells the grocery store that you're going to be there in 5 minutes. Well, guess what?
They'll have it ready.
They'll have it ready for you. And all you have to do is hit OK as you were driving, so you didn't lose any time. Yeah. So you see how efficient that is, and you're making this happen really fast. Yeah. So the world as a whole is just going to move faster.
Yeah, but
faster.
It takes away the human
aspect. Yeah. So if you were saying, okay, the human aspect is now being taken away or drawn back.
Yeah.
And this digital age is doing this. This is more powerful than this. What do you think that movement would be called?
Transhumanism.
Oh. Where do you think we are right now?
In the middle of it.
We're about 4 years in.
Yeah.
And, that's figurative, because what are we comparing it to? Because it seems like it's happening faster every day.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, there's robots, examples of them doing karate and combat.
And they learned it like
that.
Yeah. They didn't have to, I speak Portuguese.
Yeah.
They didn't have to spend years learning it.
Yeah.
They hit an enter button.
Yeah.
And that thing is going to speak better Portuguese than I could ever dream of.
We don't even have to learn other languages now.
Right.
There's an app for that.
So that's going to lead me into some other aspects of this transhumanism aspect. But for right now, our focus is on the QFS system, this new quantum financial system. So if you think about it, a robot's going to run you out some milk as you're driving by. Literally, the vehicle will stop and it'll go, drop, and you take off that fast.
Yeah.
That robot just replaced a job, didn't it? How many? You work in grocery stores.
Yeah.
Roughly, how many people are in a grocery store that are working?
40 to 60, depending on the size. I mean, if you're talking like a Walmart,
we're talking about the big dogs.
150.
150.
Yep.
And I don't see Walmart's getting any smaller.
No.
So let's call it hundreds of jobs that are not the best paying jobs, but nevertheless, they're a job that's producing.
Yeah.
Right? So people, to be a human, you have to have certain God-oriented qualities that were given to us, right? And through our Constitution, does it live it? Give me liberty or give me death. Well, if that means if you lose your liberty, you're technically what? Dead. Yeah. Which evolves into transhumanism. So humanity as a whole, not to say it's dead, I'm just saying we're in this transformation. And that's the definition of transhumanism.
Yeah.
Is it's removing the need for humans to serve the purpose here on Earth. Not to say a job is the full out purpose, but that gives you purpose.
Yeah.
So do you really need to go to church anymore? Or do you put a headset on? So do you need a church anymore? Or do you put a headset? Make sense now?
Yeah.
Commercial market right now, what's it doing?
Promoting a lot of crap.
A lot of crap.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, is it crap or is it an agenda pushing towards one side? I mean,
I don't think that the corporations, I think that they all just get caught up in the same message, but it starts from somewhere.
Right.
Whether they know it or not.
They're pushing the same message, the same agenda. Yeah. They might be selling milk, they might be selling peanut butter, but the concept's the same.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And so going back to that transhumanism phase that we're in now, is they're removing the human element out of transactions. Because if I'm writing a check to my landlord, I am writing a check to my landlord. I am personally, here's your check. Whether it's through the mail, that mailman's going to hand that. So it's the same human aspect. If we're doing it digital, it removes the emotional connection to our transactions. Therefore, they'll be faster. And when you're buying something with cash versus a credit card, which one are you spending more money on? Of course. So you're going to be spending more money in the digital system.
Yeah.
Cash is tangible. You got an emotion to that. You pull out $10,000.
You got to think about it.
You got to think about it. Some people at Costco, you'll see them walking out with carts. I guarantee they spend thousands and thousands. Imagine that guy pulling out a whole small shoebox of cash and one, two. Ain't going to happen. The transaction's too fast. He's going to make an emotional connection to how much that cash looks like. And he's going to look at that couch and say, you know what? I don't need I don't need that.
Yeah.
So they're removing the I don't need that concept. If you want it and you can afford it, what are you going to do? You're going to buy it. So the new system that we're going into is a virtual reality. If you want it, you will get it. Maybe you don't even want it and you're still going to get it because it's going to be free. Yeah. And that leads me to the next point.
What do you mean free?
Bingo. Nothing's free, right?
No.
Give me liberty or give me what?
Yeah.
Okay. So can I trade you money for liberty? Make sense now?
Yeah.
So nothing's free. But when you do get it for free, there are strings attached always. And in our circumstances, that equals what?
Yeah.
Well, or liberty.
Yeah.
You can die.
Yeah.
But you're not going to take your own life.
Yeah. What are you willing to give up?
What are you willing to give up?
Yeah.
So that's all you've got. God's given you one thing.
Yeah.
And that's liberty.
Yeah.
Agency.
Yeah.
You give up your liberty and your agency, and I will give you UBI. You know what UBI is? Universal Basic Income.
Yeah.
Which means what? You can sit here, we could podcast all day, and we can receive a check and do nothing. Which roughly in today's currency, if we were to say 1-to-1, it'd be equivalent to $18 to $22 an hour to do nothing. How much do they make at Walmart right now or McDonald's?
20, 22. Yeah.
What do you think they're setting this system up to be? The minimum wage now is what? 21, 22 bucks an hour.
Yeah, essentially.
Current system that we've got, depending on which state you are in, let's call it between $8 and $12 an hour. Yeah. You can't live off from that. And the minimum wage was never built or brought upon to live off from those wages. It's more, that's just an entry worker. Let's say you graduated high school and you're just trying to learn things of the world. But in today's world, you can't operate without money.
Yeah.
And they know that. So that's why when I say they, you now know who they are. They know that this system isn't working. The people are going to riot. We're going to have anarchy. We're going to have chaos.
Yeah.
So they say, well, through chaos, do you have order? Order out of chaos. So we're watching, in effect, and like I said, this is all theory, controlled demolition of the old system and an introduction of the new system.
Okay.
So that new system is called CBDCs, Central Bank Digital Currency System.
Okay.
The new system is called a digital system.
Yeah. Digital currency.
Everything digital. Your car's digital. And guess what? If you didn't pay your parking ticket, what's going to happen?
You're going to get an email or text or a notification of some sort.
No, your car's not going to work.
Oh.
Your car's not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay? And when your car doesn't work, where are you late to? You're late to work.
Yeah.
So, A, you have an option to, on your watch or your car, pay $50 fine. Or it might just get automatically withdrawn from your account. Because remember, everything's going to be controlled by a uni card. Uni meaning one. Not saying that's happening right now. I'm just saying, like, imagine having your social security card or one credit card. That one credit card does everything. It's your new driver's license. It's the uni card. It's a driver's license. It's your passport. It's your everything. You might as well just print it out right here on your head or put a chip in your arm. That's a whole different discussion. So you got a uni card now. You got your new bank account, which is linked to a uni card. You're in your car. That's controlled by your uni card.
Yeah.
Because it knows when you sit in there, it just turns right on and say, where are we going today?
Yeah.
And you know what? You probably don't even have to tell it where to go. It already knows where you're going. It's 8:30. It knows where you're going.
Yeah.
It might even say, hey, we got to get there faster because you're about to be late. So now that brings me to the next point of the social credit score system.
Okay.
Which is SCS, Social Credit Score System.
Okay.
That's been implemented in China for a decade or more.
Yeah.
Some people are taking this as new information, but this is yesterday's news. I'm just kind of regurgitating what's already been in place for years.
Yeah.
That system has been, let's call it, perfected and got the bugs and links worked out of it, and now has came across the ocean to this new system that we're part of now. So now you can see God's being kind of removed from the current American system, the Constitution. God's being removed. Why is that? Because God's related to liberty. You remove God, you remove our rights.
Moral compass.
And moral compasses. If you remove identity, including the new pronouns, I'm not going to go into the politics behind that, but if you remove those identities from people, that removes what?
Self,
community, family, God.
Yeah.
So that's the whole, I'm not saying that's the exact agenda. I'm just saying that's what's transpiring now. And we see these conflicts, these heated debates over, pronouns, over God, over prayer, over religion, over church.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if that's where the war is, that's going to be considered the old system, because what they're trying to do is order out of chaos. They're trying to destroy that old way of thinking. The war right now is over this.
Yeah.
The war over your mind. Because if you're in doubt now of everything else and they say, well, that doesn't exist, but this new system does, you're going to gravitate towards that of what everyone else is gravitating towards. So now you've got social credit score system. Back to now, your Tesla, theoretically, won't run because you got a $50 parking ticket you forgot to pay. You can either pay it or you can talk to a judge. And I'm sure you could probably, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, this is all theoretical, but basically, imagine on your screen, you can go click, I'm just going to talk to a judge. And a judge pops on and says, hey, Mr. Treasurer, you didn't pay your $50 fine. And you're like, you know what? It wasn't me, or whatever excuse you're trying to give at that point. He's going to say, well, I might just let you off this case, but you're losing 5 points on your credit score system.
Okay.
Or do you want to pay $50?
Yeah.
This is worth way more
yeah.
than 50. You're trying to buy a house.
Yeah.
What's worth more, $50 or 5 points in your credit score system?
That's crazy to think about.
So the credit score system is worth way more than $50.
It's kind of already happened.
Bingo.
Essentially, without the score.
Which means it's evolving.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Isn't China already doing it?
China's already doing it.
Yeah.
So let's say, for China's example, they would always push, well, you got jaywalkers in China. There's thousands of jaywalkers.
Yeah.
Well, each of they're not going to jaywalk now, because now we're going to post their face on the sidewalk, has a big LED screen, and everyone now can see the jaywalkers, and now they lose social credit score system points, like a video game.
So,
a video game.
Yeah.
He is a video game. What did we talk about before?
VR.
Because they're transforming everything into a what?
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality.
It also kind of takes away that sense of God and produces more social judgment, right? Like the social credit score. It's all like, what am I doing and what are they doing? And
you said the word social
judgment.
Social judgment, which is socialism. Socialism leads to one centralized communism state. Communism meaning dictatorship, basically.
Yeah.
If you go jaywalking accidentally, maybe your kid.
Yeah.
Does your kid know not to jump into a road? Mm-hmm. But you know what? That camera just picked you up, grabbing your child's hand, pulling them out of traffic. Yeah. Guess who just got it? You just got it. Mm-hmm. So there's no leeway there. Mm-hmm. You can't just write an email to the computer society and say, hey, I was grabbing my child. Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah. If we let you do that, we have to let 8 billion other people do that. Therefore, you're not allowed to buy your house for another 6 months, or you lost money in credit score. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no leeway. Where a judge would look at the case, and what would he say?
You did the right thing.
You did the right thing, because he's a human.
Yeah.
But if there's a robot on the other end, do you think he said you did the right thing? Mm-hmm. He'll just say you broke code, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Get in the back of the line.
Yeah.
Right? And we're just using some examples of where this system's going, because you and I honestly don't know exactly the time and place and everything's going to happen.
What it'll look like.
We're just going over the evidence, just as the Federal Reserve was started back in December 23rd, conveniently in 1913. Mm-hmm. That system went into place, what we're part of now. Yeah. That system is being destroyed out of chaos is order. And now the new order, new world, they say order, is now evolving into this transhumanism where cars are turning from gasoline into electric-powered cars. Yeah. Everything's going from an analog system. Analog system is this, writing checks, to a digital, boom, instant pay. Mm-hmm. Not saying that's bad, because I'm a business owner. I much rather pay my people, EFT. Yeah. I would say back in the day, that would probably require multiple jobs. Yeah. Where I can do it now in seconds on an app. Yeah. So there's an app for everything, right? There's an app for that. There's an app for that. Well, they're going to have a card for that. They're going to have a phone for that. Mm-hmm. You don't need apps anymore. Yeah. It's all there. Yeah. Just like the Unicard. So an interesting thing I was thinking about the other day is like Neuralink and everything going digital is how every electronic device is susceptible to hacking and malware and these other items. Like, how's a backdoor? Yeah, so essentially, like, if we're all interconnected digitally, like, are they going to steal people's thoughts and, steal people's identity? Ooh. Like, will the wealthy, like, control individuals' conscious, like Sam Altman wants to upload his consciousness
into a cloud. Like, it just it boggles my mind, and it's like I don't know how they plan to ever make it fully secure, because it's not right now. Apple has touted how secure all of their stuff is for years, and that's not the case. I experienced that firsthand,
Right.
and I just don't understand it.
That.
But is that in itself an industry, and the people that can't afford the protection are then pretty much subject to?
And
I don't know. This is, again, all theory.
This is all theory, and so this is all opinion that we're just kind of having an open and honest conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And my answer to that is, what's consciousness?
I mean, that's the root of being human, right? Like your own conscious, your own thoughts, your own emotion, all interconnected inside, not connected to exterior.
Do you think that hasn't been already copyrighted? What's a copyright?
I don't know.
The rights to utilize something, and you own the rights to that, therefore set forth.
Yeah.
So if I build a cup on a copyright, anyone that I copyright, that's mine. This is my cup.
Yeah.
You said something that was fascinating, because you're saying thoughts as if they're organic.
Well, yeah, and reason I brought that up is because I read an article about the study of BCI, brain-controlled interface computers, and the
Neuralink.
Yeah, and the massive difficulties they'll have monitoring it. And one of the things that they brought up was, if it gets hacked, someone can essentially steal your memories and thoughts.
Like an avatar. Or they could take over the body.
Yes.
And so this is actually a technology, because we call it technology.
Mm-hmm.
Phonetics, speaking, this is a technology now. Communication, hand movements, all this stuff. This is maybe a low-level technology that we might think compared to a cell phone. But in reality, if you start thinking about it, consciousness is probably the key word right there. Is you're conscious over your own thoughts. But are your own thoughts even yours to begin with? Or are they pre-programmed thoughts? Right? Because if you go to school, you learn your ABCs.
Yeah.
Who taught you the ABCs?
Yeah.
Okay. Governing the mind. Governmention. Governing the mind.
Yeah.
So you go and you learn what? English. Mm-hmm. English then derives from where? You know, we keep kind of tracing it back.
Yeah.
If we want to go into the phonetic side of it, that's probably going to be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
Of, are your thoughts truly yours, or have they been copyrighted the whole time, just like the birth certificate? Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Everything is controlled.
Yeah.
And kept in, not to say you can't kind of move within your box.
Yeah.
But everyone's got their box.
Yeah.
And you got to stay in your box. You might bounce around the sides, but you got to stay in your box. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the world we live in today.
Mm-hmm.
And the box that we're referring to, which we were talking about previously, addiction, recovery, and in this system.
Yeah.
Once you get in that system is the box.
Yeah.
You're the 1% of the less than 1% that actually got out of your box.
Yeah.
And you're still fighting your demons within those boxes to hopefully not go back to that box.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're not in that box.
Mm-hmm.
So you were that frog that jumped out of there before the water got too hot.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So if we were going to, not to get off course anymore, but let's finish talking about the new credit score system. You're theoretically in your Tesla, car won't leave, you're almost late to work. I'm going to just pay my let's call it $50 for the parking ticket. Boom, your Tesla goes, bam, you show up to work 5 minutes late.
Credit score goes down.
Credit score goes down. Ding, 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 ding. You can lose 5 points again, because Josh, you're being a bad boy. This is like your second in a day.
Yeah.
You can lose 5 points, or you can take a class to learn how to be a better person. Which one are you going to do? You're buying a house.
The class.
You're going to be a better person. Not to say that's bad or indifferent. You're going to say, you know what? I'm going to watch after work on your own time.
Yeah.
Because you're only allowed a couple hours of your own time. You're going to spend 3 hours of your 3.5 hours on your own time watching how to be a better person.
Okay.
So that's your social credit score system.
Yeah.
And that's called a tokenized system.
Okay.
Does that make sense on how it's tokenized?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So are they actually doing this in China?
Now.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying everyone's driving around Teslas.
Yeah.
But the current model, let's call it a model.
Judging you on what you do.
And it's judging you on what you do.
Yeah.
What does God say? Ye shall not what? Judge.
Yeah, it's his job.
That's his job.
Yeah.
But if these cameras, there's more cameras,
Mm-hmm.
and this is speculation. So what I hear is there's just as many cameras in China as there are people, especially in the, metropolitan populations. And so you got all these cameras watching. So imagine God's eyes sitting there watching it. Whoop, that person made it. So imagine that credit score system going like you see in the stock market.
Yeah.
Like you see in the stock market.
Yeah.
What's the new stock market? Technology.
Yeah. I mean,
that credit score system is the new stock market. As we have a stock market in today's world, it is running parallel to that. This will feed this. Make sense?
Yeah.
Just back as the dollar, when a baby's born, feeds the current,
yeah,
but it's slow.
Yeah.
This market now feeds this market.
Yeah.
And it's going to be theoretically a stronger base until somebody pulls the plug. And that brings into a whole nother conversation. EMPs, and imagine this whole system being wiped out, that whole credit score system. And then it's like pulling a blindfold off from somebody's eyes.
And they wake up.
And they're
like, wow.
Wow.
This is reality.
This is reality. And that in reality is a whole nother fun topic to talk about. But if they can control our reality, that's where the real money is. That's where the power is controlling thoughts.
Yeah.
It's like giving candy to a child and saying, don't eat it.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's going to eat that candy.
Yeah.
And what? Leads to the consequences.
Yeah.
Back to the whole prison state and the addiction and recovery state. They're still just handing candy to children and saying, don't eat it.
Yeah.
But if you do eat it, we'll provide the dentist. And the dentist is the recovery system.
Okay.
So the whole system is geared towards a monetary system and greed.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent. That's the system we live in today. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's where the system is being demolished
and rebuilt.
Yeah. Build back better. So it's supposed to be a better system. And we could debate about if that system's better or not. That's a good debate.
What happens to the debt?
What debt? Never existed to begin with.
Yeah.
What is dollar? Did a dollar ever exist?
Yeah.
Is it gold backed?
No.
Or is it petroleum backed?
Yeah. No.
The day that they started building electric cars and not pumping oil out of the ground, already lost the support system. Knowing that the dollar is devalued, right? So what's happening? The value of the dollar is going down every day.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're having a quantum ease, which is printing more money out of thin air, which is just somebody sitting on a computer hitting a zero and enter, zero, enter.
Yeah.
Supporting it up. They're trying to blow more air into the balloon, even though it's got a hole in it. And all the air is pouring out.
Yeah.
But they got to blow air into it faster.
Yeah.
Or the whole balloon, the Titanic. What happened to Titanic? Well, let's just say the Titanic's taking in water.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's taking in a lot of water.
Yeah.
What's the life vest? What are the life jackets? What are those in today's society?
Us.
UBIs. You take this universal basic income, here's your life jacket.
Yeah.
Can you swim very good with a life jacket on?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't have a life jacket on. Who's going to swim better?
Me.
What's that?
Me with the life jacket. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's going to end up happening is support in the system is going to be a life jacket.
Yeah.
But you know what? That life jacket ain't going to last forever.
Yeah.
So that's where liberty, life jacket, the whole 9 yards. You're going to have to put something on to stay afloat.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So as that Titanic is sinking, as the analogy that we're talking about, maybe conspiracy or not, back in the day, the Titanic is taking in water. Some people are jumping off the boats. There are big life rafts. Those are the big banks. If you got a life jacket on and you're barely surviving, you're going to want to get in what? One of those.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is that now raft is going to get too full. And eventually, they won't be able to take any more people in that life raft. What are they going to say to everyone else that's coming to the side of the boat? There's nothing we can do for you. That's getting into a whole nother discussion on what's going to happen in that situation, because it's all hypothetical. So it's not necessarily happening, but let's call it riots or whatever else that might happen in the future. Those are the people that aren't getting on the rafts. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so those ones, imagine if they fall in line and get a credit score system, well, they've already been now got some points against them.
Yeah.
And there's certain areas, and that's a different discussion of where people like that are not getting into the boat, nor do they want to get into the boat. What's going to happen to that? And those are all theoretical solutions. But that's just part of the system, where we were, where we're going, and what's the future look like. Yeah. Not to say the future's not a bad-looking place. It might be a great place where, you know what, you can go to work, you can go work out. Your life can be so efficient, more efficient than you ever thought could be possible. Somebody without those luxuries might not have that life of such luxuries. Yeah. And those luxuries, wearables, cell phones, those are not going to be as much of a commonplace as it was before. Especially the ones that decide not to take it, then that's where we are in today's world.
Yeah.
So does that make sense about UBIs, Universal Basic Income, CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency Systems?
It does, yeah. It makes Canada or Alaska look a little, not Canada for the politics, but just open land look a little more appealing.
Right. But that land is going to have dollars attached to it.
Yeah.
To where you can't afford to be on that land. Yeah. And so everyone's going to go back into stack and packums. So stack and packums is apartment complexes.
Yep.
Just wall-to-wall people.
Yep.
Everyone's going to follow their system. All the cars will be parked right next to each other, and just like you're in the factory.
Yeah.
That's the new system that has been in place in China for over a decade.
Yeah.
And not to say the model's perfect or been perfected there. It's now like an octopus that's now finally coming around.
Yeah.
And that's the system we're flowing into. And the dollar, we can't print, they can't print any more money. They're trying to come up with wars to print money. They're trying to come up with this to print money. They're trying to make up all these other things to print money because they're trying to put value to something else. Because if you print money, you got to valorize it, right? Like there's a war and war needs money. Bam, we can print a lot of it there. Bam, send it over there. Biggest laundering scheme that you've ever seen in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So,
a million people are dying every day because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, this isn't a podcast about, conspiracies all day long. It's just, these are the cold hard facts. We're just expressing opinions in an orderly fashion of what's happening in the hot topics today.
Yeah.
And where the world's going. So.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, everybody, I hope everyone liked that episode. And like I said, you never know what you're going to have here. Extreme Power Hour. Yeah. Sometimes it might even go out overnight. Stay tuned for the next one. Stay tuned for the next.